Hey everyone, I'm Flo, Dude is behind the camera, and we are bringing you another simple recipe using ordinary ingredients that the whole family will enjoy. Today we're making honey, ginger, soy pork chops using the sous vide device. And these pork chops are delicious, especially using the sous vide to make, because you know that the pork is going to be super tender, and I just love the flavors of honey, ginger, and soy together. So let's get started. The reason why I love the sous vide technique is because it gets my meats super tender, just the way I like it, perfectly cooked. And with the sous vide device, it's really hard to overcook your meat. Like, you're gonna have to cook, I don't know, over 4 hours for an inch thick steak to actually get a difference in texture than what you want. And so the sous vide device really does save me time, because it doesn't take long to put everything into a bag and dunk it in the water and just let it do its thing. So I'm going to show you how we are making pork chops today using a soy and ginger sauce. I have about 3 pounds of pork chops, and these are, I believe, the rib cut. That's why there's a darker section, and we find that the darker section is always more tender than the white parts.
Would you consider that like the dark part, like
the chicken
cap, or no?
Okay, kind of, yeah, I guess. It's more like the texture of the meat is more tender.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I saved that for the last.
I know. And my son, if he could see like a whole piece that's all dark, he'll just stab that one first. I'm starting with a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. And then a 1/4 cup of honey. And I have this creamed honey, so I'll show you how to measure if you're measuring a 1/4 cup. So you see the lines? Or are we at 1/2 cup right now?
Yeah, it's just a little over a half.
Okay, so in order to measure a 1/4 cup of solid in liquid, you just wait for when you put in the solid, like honey, well, this creamed honey, it will push the liquid up. And when that reaches a 1/4 cup, like 3/4 cup, I guess, then you know that you have a 1/4 cup of honey, because you're at 1/2 cup. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
There, right, 3/4 cups.
Yep.
I have 4 little cloves of garlic. If you have big ones, maybe just use 2, but you can use as much garlic as you like. There's no rule.
I think that's a great thing about cooking and food, is whatever your tastes are, you can totally adjust.
Yeah, and if you don't like garlic, don't even bother. That's what I think.
But you don't have to get angry about it.
I'm not angry. A thumb-sized piece of ginger. It's about, I think, 1/2 ounce, and I've already peeled it, and I'm just going to grate that into the sauce. And then just make sure that you combine your sauce. Now, because I'm using that creamed honey, and you don't have to use creamed honey, it's just what I have. Just use regular honey. It won't be so difficult to incorporate the honey into your soy sauce mixture. It's not that it's hard anyways, but it would have been way easier if it was liquid. I am using these silicone bags that are great for sous vide, so I don't have to keep using plastic bags and throwing them away. So these are perfect for sous vide because they are heat resistant up to a certain temperature. And yeah, so I'm just gonna put my pork chops in there. I think I can fit 3 in a bag. Going to pour half the marinade in each bag. And to seal it, just make sure that you squeeze out as much air as possible. And then seal it completely. It's a pretty good seal. My device is a Joule, and I operate the Joule from an app on my phone. And I love their app because it shows me exactly the texture that I want. So I'm going to show you in pork. I'm just using their basic pork chop recipe, or timing and temperature. So it just lets me set the temp, and I also choose 140. It's their favorite, and it shows like what the texture is going to look like on the inside when you cut in.
They call it the visual doneness.
And then I'm just going to set my time. Yes, I have fresh pork chops. They are about 1.5 inches thick. So it's going to take me 1 hour and 30 minutes for them to cook. And I'm going to start the Joule. So the red light here indicates that it is heating up, and when it's ready, it'll turn green, and you'll also be notified on your phone that your water is ready and your food is ready to go in. So with 1.5 hours, I can do whatever I need to do. Today, I happen to need to take my daughter to her ortho appointment. And so this could be cooking at home, taking its time. I know it's not gonna overcook, so I could leave it in the water after it's done for another hour or two and still be a perfectly cooked pork chop. And I didn't have to worry about it burning. I didn't have to be home to take it out and turn off the heat. It's just all being done while I'm still doing other things. This also saves you money because I found pork chops on sale today for $8 for 6 pork chops. And that is cheap for us here in Canada. I don't know if it's cheap in the US. Right, it took about 12 minutes for it to come up to temperature. So again, if you are short on time, you can absolutely preheat your water while you're bagging your food. And I'm just gonna drop these in there. You have to make sure that the meat is completely submerged. Hope this is enough. Here we go. Also remember to protect your countertop if you are using your device on your counters and not, say, on the stove where, you know, heat is not an issue. So just make sure you protect your counter. So just got back from the orthodontist and she needs braces. Ah! But while I was gone taking her to the ortho, my pork chops were cooking and they have been keeping warm now for about half an hour. I'm going to take them out and pat them dry before searing them on my cast iron pan. And then we're going to do a little sauce or glaze with the juices that are left in the bag.
At least there's some good news today.
We're having pork chops for dinner. Okay, we're going to keep the juices in. Try the pork chops. Because they were cooked touching, you can already see how pink it is on the inside. Pink as in like done pink, not pink as in raw pink. Just saying. Pouring some oil into my already heated pan. Make sure that the pork chops are very well patted dry. Otherwise it will sizzle and splatter and not get a good sear on them, okay? I'm going to pour the juices actually into the saucepan because there's quite a bit of it, so I didn't want to use the frying pan and also didn't want to create a mess. But we're going to thicken it with some cornstarch. I'm going to heat it up first. Look at all the juice just in one bag.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to waste that gold.
I know, it'll make a lovely sauce to soak into the rice that we're also serving.
And to just drizzle over those pork chops.
It smells so yummy in here right now. Okay, I'm turning my pot back on. And we're just going to bring that to a, oh look, it's already starting to simmer a bit. So I have about 2 teaspoons of cornstarch here. And I'm going to add about a tablespoon of water. Make sure that your water is always cold or at least room temperature, otherwise cornstarch won't dissolve. If you use hot water, it will just become one lumpy mess. You don't want that. You want your sauce to thicken. So you want to create a slurry like this. And as soon as the sauce heats up a little bit, just stir it in. You can also reduce the sauce if you like, but I think it'll be good the way it is, just thickened. So heat this through until it thickens. You can pour it over your pork chops after that. Right, so you can see the sauce has thickened. If you want it to be even thicker than this, you can add a little bit more of the cornstarch slurry, but this is sufficient for what I'd like it to be like. So I'm going to turn off now. When I got home, I washed some rice and made the rice in the rice cooker. And I washed some green vegetables that I simply blanched in boiling water with some salt and oil. And you saw what I did here. Quickly pan-seared the pork chops and I made a sauce. And that's it, dinner is served. And we'll serve that with the remaining sauce on the side. And I did chop up some cilantro, because I think it'll add just a little bit of freshness. But you know what? You don't have time for cilantro, or you don't like cilantro, forget the cilantro. Instead of cilantro, you can use chopped up green onions if you like that instead. That would be really yummy. I know you're all dying to find out what it looks like inside and what Dude thinks. So it's time for
the honey, ginger, and soy. I mean, it's totally aromatic. It's the same shade through.
from edge to edge.
From edge to edge. The shade of properly cooked. Not overly cooked, just nice. And then I'm gonna eat this piece without any sauce. Yeah, just the meat. You can definitely tell that the marinade went right through the meat. It wasn't just on the outside of the pork chop. So I guess that's one of the things you can do with sous vide, is that it just infuses, it drives that flavor of the marinade straight through the meat. So now I'm gonna rock a little bit more sauce, just a little bit. I'm gonna find that piece that is on one of the, oh yes, the dark side. See, as you slice through it, it's really uber tender. It's kind of like slicing through the cap portion of a ribeye. That had a bit extra fat on there, and it was totally melt in your mouth. Really good. So along with the rice and the veg, see the rice got all the extra sauce, so you're just gonna pour it on, and the veg is just simple, blanched, nothing to take away from the meat. So totally looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dude. All right, everyone. The ebook is finally coming out this week. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter or check the community tab here on YouTube to find out when exactly it will be available. And it will be available on Amazon. And the link will be in the description below and in the newsletter. And the paperback is to come. We're still working on that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't already subscribe, why not? Just click the link below. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.